everybody, and welcome to a special Easter edition devotional. And we're going to do a number of these throughout the week just to prepare our hearts for Easter and what's coming up on Good Friday, and then obviously Easter Sunday as well. So be sure to check in. We're also going to be doing a number of accompanying meditation and prayer videos to go along with these devotional thoughts. Did you know that Jesus said 7 things when he was on the cross? They're called the sayings of the cross, and there were 7 things in particular that Jesus said. 4 of these things were literally to people. Jesus was actually addressing people, but 3 of them were prayers to the Father. In fact, and he starts them all by using the word Father. And I'm wondering with these 3 prayers, and I don't know what the prayer of your heart is leading up to Easter, but I'm wondering if these 3 prayers overlay over some of the things that are going on for you and some of the things that you can prepare your heart for as we walk our way up into Easter. Do you know what the first thing that Jesus said when he was on the cross? The first thing is recorded in the Gospel of Luke, and it's literally Luke 23:34. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Just take that in for a second. You know, Jesus has been tried in a kangaroo court. He has been found guilty. He has been beaten, Bible says, beyond all recognition, both with whips but also with fists, and people have plucked his beard. He has been ridiculed and mocked and made to carry his own cross, and then hung on his own cross, and then stripped naked of all dignity. Now, I don't know about you, but the first thing out of my mouth, and maybe you're more spiritual than I am, but the first thing out of my mouth probably would not be, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I would probably either be screaming blue murder and pain, or I'd be calling some people some names, or I would be crying for my mommy. But definitely the first thing that not on my mind would be, Father, forgive them, they know not what they do. This was his first response. What's your first response when people betray you? What's your first response when people hurt you? What's your first response when people do things not in accordance with the way that you said that you wanted those things to be done? They've wronged you. What is your first response? If we use Jesus' example, our first response should be forgiveness. Our first response should be forgiveness. And it's hard, but it is what Jesus showed us as the way to be, as the way to handle these situations. Incidentally, most of us want to harbor unforgiveness or bitterness in our heart and say, do you know what they did to me? I want to even the score. I want to level the playing field. I want to get back at them. I want revenge and all of those kinds of things. And it's interesting that medical studies have come back to tell us the effects of holding bitterness, of harboring unforgiveness in our hearts, and they can lead all the way from gastrointestinal upset all the way to cancer. And it's interesting because I feel like Jesus was completely onto this. He knew what this was all about. In fact, as we have heard the phrase that says, you know what, unforgiveness is like drinking poison but expecting the other person to die. Jesus knew that he was not about to drink any of that poison. He was going to deal with it right there and right then. A lot of people would say that forgiveness is a gift you give yourself. And I don't know whether Jesus looked at it that way or not, but I do know that forgiveness was something that Jesus talked about a lot, and it's all throughout Scripture. In fact, when he taught the disciples to pray, one of the specific things that he taught them to pray was, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. It is hard, but it is powerful. And Jesus knew this, and Jesus did this. Incidentally, our district superintendent just sent around a video this week in preparation for Easter, and lo and behold, what was it about? It was about forgiveness. In that video, he talked about the amazing story of hockey player Danny Heatley, who was in a car accident. He had a Ferrari and he was a young buck, and he thought, he could do whatever and drive however he wanted. And so he was out with his friend Danny Snyder, who was a teammate and also a hockey player who was from Elmira, Ontario. And long story short, the car got out of control and Danny Heatley got in an accident and Danny Snyder lost his life. The first thing that Danny Snyder's parents did for Danny Heatley, who was all of 21, 22 years of age, was went to him and said, "We want you to know that we forgive you." It was their first response. They didn't want Danny Heatley to have survivor's guilt any more than he already did. They said, "We want you to succeed, and we want you to go ahead with your hockey career after you heal up, and we want you to know that as a family, we forgive you." That was their first response. I really think this is powerful. And maybe there's something in your heart, maybe there's something in your life, maybe there's a person in your life that you need to offer forgiveness. And this Easter 2021 can be the time where you just lay this down at the feet of Jesus and you say, "Father, forgive them. I forgive them, for they know not what they do." It's a gift you can give yourself this Easter 2021.